out and actually talk to people, which is a big thing for me. Hi, how you doing? Good, how are you? Emco Technologies started as a family-owned company in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They began by offering two-way radio services, and not just the service, but sold equipment and whatnot. And they branched out into the IT field in the mid-'80s. In 2002, they went into government contracting, and that's when I went to work for them, was in 2002. They took over a contract that I was a help desk agent on the NASA contract, and that's when they took over that contract from the company I was working for. I started, I'm going to stand behind this. I started out with Emco as, like I said, a help desk agent. I originally began my career, a little bit about me, I began my career as a delivery driver at a mom and pop computer store in Huntsville, and I wrecked the delivery van, so they didn't want me on the road anymore, so they put me in the service department. And I seemed to have a knack for computers, peripherals, printers, things of that nature. I got most of my training through on-the-job training, and at that time, that was pretty much all you could get was on-the-job training. And I got quite a bit of my formal education from Calhoun.
Oh really? Were you a Calhoun student?
I am a Hooner, yes I am.
Really? Oh wow, my first time to hear Hooner. Is that what it is?
That's what...
what was your major here, and what year was that?
I was here off and on for about 10 years. My major was actually business, and I'm going to UNA right now.
Also, you're going to UA?
UNA.
UNA?
Mm-hmm. And my major is human resource management.
Oh, why
So,
didn't major cyber? Is there such thing as cybersecurity and human resources something?
Well, probably not, no. Cybersecurity, most of the cybersecurity that I deal with are the people that I hire. My background was primarily in hardware, systems administration, network administration.
What was your major here? Business too as well in Calhoun?
Yeah, I started out as an English major and decided that you can't make any money teaching English. So I switched to business.
Not unless you go to Asian countries, then you'll be a famous
Yeah,
teacher.
yeah, you can, but I'm a homebody and I wanted to stay home. So I was taking accounting classes. I decided I wanted to be an accountant, and then after I took a few accounting classes, I decided I did not want to be an accountant.
Really?
So
You should come to my class. I love accounting.
Yeah. Actually, my girlfriend is a CPA. She's
well, there you go.
So
That's how they match.
I don't want to take any more.
But the thing is, accountant doesn't make money, so I abruptly changed my major.
Accountants make some pretty good. They make some
Here,
pretty good money.
when I was in the Philippines, it's
really?
not really. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's an honest to goodness job being an accountant. So you're not gonna make money unless you do all the under the table job.
Yeah. Well, here you can make. Well, that's probably about the same here, I would imagine.
Well, here they make pretty good money. $100 an hour. That's not bad if you're
If
you're a
you can
CPA and you have actually license and you've been in here for a while. So
if you're a CPA and you get into a firm like my girlfriend Annette, she was a partner in a firm, and you can make some really good money. But the thing is, it's a cutthroat business. I digress. What types of classes? I mean, I know you teach cybersecurity classes. What exactly do you prepare them for?
We do just have 2 weeks ago. We just got approved for a 2-year cybersecurity program.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you actually have a degree program.
We have a 2-year degree program now. So for those students who are taking majoring networking or programming or micro applications, you only have to take 5 more classes to get the cybersecurity, the 2-year cybersecurity, because it's the same gen ed and core classes that you're taking with most of your class. So with cybersecurity, what is added is that the 3 certificate, which is the pen testing, the ethical hacking, and then the computer forensics, we added 2 more classes, which is the cyber defense and then the information assurance. So a lot of my students in here pretty much are taking already the certificate, isn't it? You guys are taking the certificate, so they only need 2 more classes to graduate if they already, if they're in that range already to graduate the cybersecurity?
Now, I will tell you from my perspective, I'm the guy that goes out on the web, and goes to like Indeed.com and goes to the job sites, and I pull your resumes. And I'm the guy that I'm the guy that checks your background to see if you're able to get a security clearance, and then I'm the guy that calls you in for an interview.
Do you use keyword or only the government contract? Because I know they use a lot of keywords.
Sometimes we go for keywords. It's really dependent upon the type of job I'm hiring for. Now, I'll give you an example. I was hiring for a cybersecurity specialist, and this was the person who was going to be doing a lot of intrusion detection, testing the network, things of that nature. And one of the key words in there was they needed ethical hacker, and they needed, was it CSSIP? CISSP?
CISSP.
They needed the CISSP certification. Now, it was not a requirement. They didn't have to have it, but it was like they preferred it. So when I do keyword searches, I generally do it on the certifications that you hold. My last contract that I had with the Army Corps of Engineers, they required Security Plus certification, which is, it's a requirement for all government.
Which we did. If you guys are interested, I'm doing the boot camp for Security Plus, and I just talked to my dean actually today, 30 minutes ago, and I asked her to approve my my vouchers. So all of my students who attend a boot camp with Security Plus on Friday will get a free voucher.
Now, in this part of the country, 90%, I would say 90% of the IT jobs in this particular part of the country are either working for military contractors or the military themselves or NASA contractors.
Still requires Security Plus.
The military contractors and the military requires a Security Plus. You can't even access you can't even sit down and get an email address. You can't access their networks without that Security Plus certification.
Yeah.
A lot of times you can't even walk into their buildings to even touch their keyboards unless you have at the very least a secret clearance. So that's just an incentive for you to kind of keep your background, keep your nose clean. But the Security Plus is highly recommended for anybody that's starting out in their IT career.
How many taking Security Plus boot camp with me?
I'm signed up.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Do you want to sign up as well?
I'd like to. It's on Friday.
It's every Friday,
Okay.
10:30-ish, because I'm always late on Friday. I don't work on Friday, so basically it's just my
Now
free time.
you said you have a Security Plus boot camp. I mean, is it all day Friday?
It's just actually 2 hours and a half, because 2 hours, 10:30 to 12:30. Yeah. So.
It's Security Plus is like a must-have. You really need the Security Plus. There are other certifications that are required. Most of the time, you have to have a Security Plus certification plus one other certification, like an A plus
And
Microsoft
NetPlus.
certifications.
Net Plus.
Sometimes, I know on the Army Corps contract, they wouldn't take the Net Plus.
Really?
No.
What does they take?
They would take Linux Plus. They would take cloud computing certifications.
Yeah, that's all pretty much vendor push by CompTIA, I guess.
And
Because
they
the cloud, basically the cloud one is really easy to take right now. You should take it because they never strengthen the cloud certification is really, really easy to take, guys. I really recommend for you to take it. You're gonna pass it with flying colors. Because the very first time when they offer the program, they normally give you like a free voucher to take it as a beta. Like when they did the mobility class, they pretty much give you the voucher to take it.
Now, does Calhoun offer any types of courses on ITIL?
Not really.
Because once you're into the IT field, and it's like the certification that I'm required to have right now is ITIL,
Right.
application certification. So
For some reason, it's just got popular, the ITIL. The ITIL was actually there for 5 years ago, when it was really a requirement, but then it got phased down, and now back again with the
it's back
ITIL.
again.
Because
It was
ITIL
kind
is
of
what, London based or?
it is, and it was kind of flip flopping between the what is it with the green belts and black belts.
The Six Sigma, yeah.
So, it was, the Six Sigma, it flip-flops between the two, but right now,
Right.
ITIL is a big requirement.
How much value does the certification that you get from Fort Gordon offered by the Army? Is there any validity to that outside of employment already? I was a contractor with the secret clearance for a while, and I had to go through online training. And does that have any existing value once I left that job?
Outside of there, probably not, because I had to go through the same training.
Yeah, you sit there and you.
It's, the computer-based training he's talking about was like the, I know that there was sexual harassment training.
There was that, and
And
this was actually some security related.
Yeah, and one of them was like, protecting PII.
Yeah, that was a big one, yeah.
It's
Cybersecurity awareness training, I think they call it.
something like that. It's basically what it is it's protecting personally identifiable information. It's a real rudimentary class. I mean, locking your keyboards when you go away. Whenever you work for the military, they give you a common access card. They call it a CAC, and you use that. It's chip embedded, and you use that instead of a password. So it's like remembering to pick up your cell phone, lock your screen, take your CAC with you, things of that nature. Unless you go to another military contractor, it's not going to be any good. I mean, if you were to go to work for NASA, they have their own training.
I just wonder, I never had an opportunity to ask anyone if they had any value besides that particular job.
So far in other contracts I've worked for, it's not been a requirement. Now they do have the other requirements like the harassment training and workplace violence and active shooter training, things of that nature.
I see. That's actually in the test, by the way. Security Plus have that CAC test.
Security Plus is very important. I can't tell you enough how important it is to have that certification when you start looking for work in this market.
So what are we looking for in terms of pay scale with a Security Plus and without the Security Plus? Of course, without Security Plus, you won't get a job.
I can tell you with the Security Plus and with a clean background, if you're able to get a security clearance, it really depends. A lot of it depends on your if you've got a lot of experience in the IT field, you could start out from $20 to $23 an hour, and that's starting. Most of your entry level jobs some start at 13. Those are the lower level jobs, and the last contract I was on, we were starting our people out from $17 to $19 an hour, and that's entry level. That's with very little experience.
What's the key term? Because I see a lot of students that are actually not having a job, yet they were applying several different kinds of contracting. What's the key point that makes them, talk to them?
The recommendation I would make would be to read the job description very carefully and look for key terms in the job description. If they're looking for someone with Security Plus, make sure you put that in your resume. I have this certification. If they're looking for someone with great customer service skills, make sure you put in there how wonderful your customer service skills are. And that's something that's pretty important too. I don't know if you've got any classes at
I really learned with you and Nicole last time when you guys came to my class how important is customer service is. Because I wouldn't put my customer service, track record, but I didn't know that that's really, really important. Your customer service.
When I was a wee lad working in a server room in Corinth, Mississippi, the only person I ever dealt with was my partner, and we sat in the server room all day long. So customer service skills were not really that important because who else was going to be in there? When I got into what they call a customer-facing job, when I was going from desktop to desktop, talking with customers and everything, your technical skills, you could be the best technician that ever walked out of California Community College, but if you don't have good customer service skills, it's not really going to matter because you're not going to be able to get a job. If you can't interface with customers, and you have to be able to, it's what they call soft skills, right? You have to be able to talk with people. interact with people. You have to be able to discuss their problems with them, not talk down to them, things of that nature.
In a normal day, Jerry, how many people you hire every month or every day or something? What's the range?
You know, it really varies. Right now, I'm kind of in a lull. I have one position that I'm hiring for, and it's what they call a patch agent. These people sit in a room and they monitor a network, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They monitor the network, and they wait for Cisco router to go down, or a server to not respond, and they will open a ticket and we'll send it over to the
I'm
appropriate.
gonna prep my class report and I'll be back in here.
Okay.
You guys ask questions. I'll be back.
Well, she's gone on school leave, so.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's great talking to you. No, but, one of the other things I will tell you is you have to be able to write a letter. You have to be able to formulate your thoughts into complete sentences. And I say that because I had a tough time doing that. That's one of the things I had to learn the hard way, was when you get into a business environment, you have to be able to communicate effectively. And by communicate effectively, you got to be able to write emails. You got to be able to take a person's jumbled up email with my keyboard doesn't work and my trackball this, that, and the other. And you've got to be able to communicate with these people. So if you can take like a business email writing or letter writing course.
They have a business communications course.
Business communications course, I would highly recommend it, because that's going to be something you're going to run into. And that's been Nicole Cantor is my boss, and she's usually the lady that does these talks, because obviously I'm not a public speaker. But that's one of the things that she harps on pretty heavily. You got to be able to communicate. And that's one of the things that we had to deal with on a regular basis. We would get people that came right out of college. I'm talking 4-year colleges with stellar academic achievements, but they couldn't write a letter to save their lives. So I would recommend business communication classics as well.
It's required for a lot of our classes.
Is it? Well, that's good. It's very good. Pay attention. Anybody have any questions? Anybody want some pizza?
You have to have be able to pass a what's it called
Security clearance?
security clearance. Like what level do you have to get to?
The positions that I hired for primarily required secret clearance, and what that means is they'll go back. The government will go back in your background about from 5 to 7 years.
Okay.
And if you've got, if you got traffic tickets, if you've got, didn't pay a student loan, you've got a credit card out there, they're gonna find it. And one of the things that I have a friend that's a site security officer on Redstone Arsenal, and she told me that as long as you're 100% honest, you can get a security clearance. And that's what I pass on to people, is if you ever get the opportunity to sit and fill out what they call an equip, it's like a 30-page document you have to fill out. And they want to know everything. And you put down, I'll give you an example, me. When they were redoing my clearance, I was going through a divorce, so I had to put down my ex, my estranged wife. I had to put down all of her neighbors. I had to put down the neighbors in the neighborhood I was living in. And that lady went and talked to every one of the people that I put on that form. And they, I got the clearance, but they check. They go back, and if there's one thing you neglect to put on that form, it's like you had a speeding ticket and you didn't pay for it, and you got a warrant out for your arrest. They're gonna find that. So. But on the other side, it's pretty easy to get a secret clearance as long as you're honest. You put down on the form.
They do check social media and like Facebook and all that kind of stuff too.
I check social media for people that when I get an application,
Right.
I'll go out and I'll look on Twitter and Facebook, just to 9 times out of 10, if I'm calling them for an interview, just so I can put a face with a name. I don't go digging around, creeping on their pictures and stuff like that, because me personally, I don't think it's relevant. but a lot of government contractors will go poke around on your Facebook. So if you're the kind of person that likes to go to a bar and take pictures of all the cocktails you've had, I'd probably stop. But social media is not your friend. I've told my children that, and
Yeah.
I'll tell
It really isn't.
everybody. Facebook is not your friend, and not by a long shot.
So will they judge you by what your friends will post or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Like I said, 90% of the time, I just go so I can put a face with the name. Because when I schedule an interview, you know, I like to walk up to the person as soon as I see them and introduce myself and everything. You know, I don't like to get surprised. I don't do a whole lot of poking around. I mean, I've had people that work for me that I really wish they wouldn't add me as their friend on Facebook because I don't care about your political views, and I don't care about what you're eating at dinner or anything like that. So, that's just me.
Or what your poop look like on Friday.
I'm an old guy, and I just don't, you know. So what are your majors? I mean, what do you guys? What do you eventually hope to?
I'm hoping for cybersecurity and system administration.
So are you going to go on to a 4-year university or?
Most likely.
No?
I'm hoping for anyway.
No? Cybersecurity. Who else is doing cybersecurity? No? That is the way of the future. I think that is.
Along with security SCADA.
I'm sorry.
Along with working with SCADA.
SCADA. What is SCADA?
Automation robotics.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's what they use to manage pipelines and infrastructure.
Okay, that's why it sounds familiar because I used to support a utility in Virginia, and they use SCADA.
There's only about 400 or 500 people in the country that do serious ICS and SCADA research.
Really?
Yeah, I was at B-Sides Nashville this past weekend and talking to some folks, and there's just like nobody in that field really.
Really?
But that's the conduit to get the power involved. So it's kind of scary.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess that goes along with the cybersecurity because you know whenever you turn on the television these days, I mean you know just about every night, at least 2 or 3 times a week, you see where someone's network's got hacked, or you know they've stolen this many all of these people's personal information. So it's a wide open field, and I may have mentioned it. But I do hire for a lot of different positions all over the country, and one of the big ones that I have the biggest problem hiring for is cybersecurity because it just doesn't seem that right now the market is that saturated with people that have not just the background but they have the right certifications and the right education. So.
So, aside from Security Plus, what other certification would you recommend?
Well, depending on your course of study and your career aspirations, I would recommend that you gear your certification path toward your career aspirations. Like I said, when you go into government contracting, especially on the Army side, you're going to have a Security Plus certification. Like I said, there's no way around that. Now, if you're going to be like in system administration and you're going into a Microsoft shop, I would wholeheartedly recommend. I don't know what the MCSE track is anymore. They probably don't call it MCSE anymore. MCSA. Microsoft certified system administrator. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're going into a Linux shop, gear your certification path more toward Linux, Unix, things of that nature. But, I was a hardware jockey. All of my certifications were in hardware. Compact. Back when Compact was actually a standalone company and they had the big ProLiant servers, that's what I worked on primarily. So, I was a parts jockey. I swapped parts over. That's all I did. So what do you think of the curriculum at Calhoun? What do you think of the classes?
A lot of the classes I've taken, they don't seem like they teach you what you need to know. But that may just be me. I don't know, because I've been a hobbyist playing around with this stuff for a while. But they don't seem to be teaching you what you need to know.
Oh, okay. Well, did you let your instructors know?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay.
My math teacher called Calhoun a halfway house.
You know, I have to take offense at that because I come from Calhoun. Calhoun is, I think, is a good place to start. Unfortunately, I think that community colleges get a bad rap because people think that they're a halfway house, or they're for people who could not get, accepted into universities. And I'll tell you, when I went to UNA and I met with my advisor, his name is Dr. Dan Halleck, and he is a big proponent of the community college. And he grilled me for 15 minutes on why I didn't finish at community college. He said, you only needed this class, and this class, and you could have had your associate's degree. And it's like, well, I don't know. But don't let anybody steer you, tell you otherwise. You can get a top-notch education from Calhoun and from the entire community college system in the state of Alabama.
And I think to a large degree that, depending on the person, you get more hands-on than you do at the senior colleges.
And
Four-year college.
I can only speak for UNA, but UNA classes are enormous. I mean, it's not unusual to have 150.
I graduated from Mississippi State.
Did you?
Yeah.
I had kind of a rough football year last year, didn't you?
Yeah. But not like in 1970 when we had a 0-10-1 season, we could still have a tie.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Only Navy had a worse season, and that's because they didn't play that extra game.
That's bad when you're ranked right there with Navy. But I think at Calhoun, there've been a lot of really good instructors. Some of my favorite instructors. I can't remember the guy's name, but he used to teach Alabama history on the Decatur campus. He wore a seersucker suit and a bow tie, and he had one of those Virginia Southern accents. And he told us when I said
Wayman Burke.
Wayman Burke was actually my civics instructor when I was in high school. I graduated from Butler, and he was my 12th grade civics instructor. So I love that guy. But,
He was on the air today.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
No.
Did an interview.
I'm sorry, we got off topic. We're talking about,
You're okay.
but this guy, when I first walked into his class, everyone sat down, and he said, "If you bought the book, I'm sorry, we're not going to go buy the book 100%." But that was one of the most enjoyable classes I ever took. And it was just an Alabama history class, but it was like he went behind. You had this certain set of stuff that you learned in high school in Alabama history, but he would give you the background story, and it was just fascinating class. But talking about when I was a young man going to Calhoun.
You guys have some more questions?
We asked a couple.
Since
No,
I
I've
was
been-
late, I have a question.
Shoot.
What is your area of expertise?
My area of expertise is human resource management. When I was in the IT field, I was a hardware network administration. I moved into management after I worked at Caterpillar, and I was a network administrator, and I left there and went to work on a NASA contract, and was after about 6 years, I was promoted to management, and I've been in human resource management ever since.
Changed.
I changed completely. I started, I mentioned it before, I started a mom and pop computer company, and most of my training was on the job training until I got when I started working with networks and getting deeper into software issues, and that's when I started taking classes at Calhoun, and a lot of online classes as well.
So did you have any formal background with cybersecurity before you got into it, or you just
I didn't.
showed to it and then?
I was thrown into it, face first. And really, my forte is not cybersecurity. My forte was hardware. And I was what they called a parts jockey back in the day. I was the guy that when you ordered high-end servers, they came in pieces, and you had to put them all together, and you had to format and set up all the RAID arrays and things of that nature. So that's what I did for a living.
You guys have some more questions?
So you absolutely need like the security clearance, right?
Not if you, it really depends on who you go to work for. If you go to work for a military contractor, you're gonna have a security clearance. If you go to work for a NASA contractor, NASA issues their own security clearance, and it's not really a security clearance. They do a full security investigation, which is equal to the top secret investigation, but they don't actually issue a clearance. So they will check your background. They may not issue you a clearance, but they will check your background, and they will drug test you. They will check your state background. They do a federal background check and a state background check. So
So is like citizenship needed to pass that?
you have to be a U.S. citizen in order to get a.
Security.
No, you don't have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be
Permanent resident.
Permanent resident,
But
because
in order to get a certain level of clearance, you have to be a citizen.
right. I think on top secret and TSS compartmentalized, you have to be a U.S. citizen. But secret clearance, I've worked with a lot of foreign nationals who had secret
Yeah,
clearance.
secret clearance.
What exactly is it that you look for in your job when you guys are going through applications?
When I start going through applications, what I look for is like we talked about earlier. I don't think you were in here. We look for keywords that basically describe the position that I'm hiring for. Like if I'm hiring for cybersecurity, I start looking for certifications, security certifications. Once I decide on an application or resume, I'll call and talk to the person, and I'll try to get a feel for personality. We were talking about social media, checking on social media. I rarely go looking on social media other than to see what the person looks like, so when I schedule an interview. But customer service skills are, I've told people this 100 times, I can teach anybody to turn a screw. I can teach people how to be technicians. I can teach people how to be programmers, but I cannot teach customer service skills. That's something that.
How valid is the security? I mean, I know Security Plus is the most, but how about the CEH? Is that still something that you look for as a keyword?
It depends on the position. I know.
Are there still some companies looking for CEH?
It's still on that. It's still on
It's
that
on that list?
On that list that Cole gave you. The CEH certification is. I've personally never sourced anybody with a CEH certification. A lot of CISSP certifications. A lot of, it seems that the IT field is getting more specialized these days. When they start, it's like Lockheed Martin will send me a list of positions that they're hiring for, and they'll have things on there like Wintel administrators. I'd never heard of Wintel before. I had to go out.
What is Wintel?
Wintel is some sort of, it's like an interface for network administration, and I'd never heard of it.
Anybody heard that?
I think I've heard of it once.
I've seen the word. I've seen the word. That's
But-
about it.
But it just seems to me that a lot of positions are becoming more and more specialized. So, and some of them are even just out there. Certifications I've never heard of before. But I guess if I could give you any advice at all is when you start, looking for work, keep abreast of all the new changes. Subscribe to magazines, subscribe to websites. I used to say message boards, but stay abreast of the changes in the field. Because there's going to come a time. I'll give you an example. I had to hire a lady, or I had to hire for a position, and it was a particular type of software that the government uses to administer common access cards or something like that. I can't remember what the software was, but it was a tiny software package, but it was very important to their business. So they wanted somebody that had, and I had a lady that used to do it in the Army. She had 10 years experience, but it wasn't enough experience for them for this crazy software package that no one had ever heard of before.
Wow,
So,
interesting.
but it is becoming more compartmentalized.
Do you offer where, what I want to do is actually observe both the person who works in ethical hacking, system analyst, and forensics,
Mhm.
to determine which one I'm much more interested in focusing on.
I mean, like an internship?
Yeah, like after you're finished, I guess you can do that after you're finished, but then still, while you're currently in college, sometimes you get that block where, okay, which one of these am I going to really focus on?
If you ever have the opportunity to intern with a company, even if it's an unpaid internship,
Mhm.
I'd recommend you take it, just for the experience. My son actually ran into that issue. He never did any internships when he was in college, and he had a harder time getting into his field because he didn't have relevant experience. But if you're not really sure, which path you want to follow in cybersecurity or in the IT field, I would wholeheartedly recommend an internship. Companies in some, actually year-round, Lockheed Martin, for example, they're real big on internships. You might go out to Lockheed Martin's website and look on their interns page.
There you go, that's a good one. Lockheed Martin.
Lockheed
That's
Martin's.
my issue now, I don't know what I wanna do when I'm stuck. I don't wanna waste my time taking classes and then at the end of it, I just have a degree that I'm not even interested in.
That would be, and you may find out that the field is not for you, or you may find out that that's the best decision you've ever made. It just, things are a lot different when you get into the corporate field. But you have to have that educational background. So I would recommend doing an internship if you can. Apply to every internship that you can.
Yeah, I
Because-
just wanna observe what each individual's responsibilities are and see what sparks my interest, cause I'm more particular for details, it has to be perfect and correct,
Mhm.
and
Have you researched the companies that do what you wanna do and try to
see,
contact people
that's where I
to
have
do?
a block. I don't know, now I'm at that point where I'm almost done, and I have that block where
No, listen.
But what was your major before you even start cybersecurity?
networking and technology.
Also, you're actually in the networking and technology.
It
Do you
is
have a
going
major,
to
did
be
you take already networking yet? Have you taken networking classes yet?
I changed to general studies to transfer to Athens State to get my, is it BIT they have up there, Business Information System, I think? Or is it UH, one of them, whatever.
There is an information
It's
assurance.
information assurance.
Right.
Right, so I'm going off their requirements as to what I need from Calhoun.
Right.
So I'm almost done, and I'm like,
But as Jerry said, it's more, right now, it's really more on this specialized kind of field. Like, there's one for incident management, there's one for business policy, there's one for just, just the security itself. There's one for the networking, so they're all related to cybersecurity, but it's so specialized that you can be, I have to say that you can be trained for the job. As you said,
Right.
it's training is not as hardcore as the customer service.
It
so
would-
I already have the
it makes
customer service.
It makes a big difference when you go into, if say, information assurance is what you want to go into. So you find a job or you find an internship or you're looking for someone who has experience in this, and you've studied it in school. It's going to make a big difference when you go into that internship or you go into that job and you are familiar with the concepts and what they're looking for. Instead of having to train you from the ground up, they're gonna sit down and they're gonna show you, and you're gonna be familiar enough where you can work your way through it, or it's gonna make them training a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not going to. What I've learned is the stuff that I've learned in school and the stuff that I've learned in certification classes and stuff like that. They give you kind of a broad overview, and they prepare you for what you're going to find when you get out into the real world. Now, you're not going to see exactly the same things that you saw in the classroom, but you're going to have a pretty good idea of what could happen and what it could take to fix. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's 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 kind of a crapshoot. You can spend a lot of your time looking for that one particular area where you feel like you have the most experience, or you can broaden your search horizons. You can look to see what people are looking for, and you can take a look at your academic career and say, oh yeah, we covered this in Dr. Nixon's class. I think I have a firm enough understanding of this concept that if I sat down in front of a terminal, I can figure it out, or it would only take them a few minutes to teach me, to familiarize me with the way that they do things, and you'd be able to pick it up. So.
And to tell you also, to plug it in, SUNA is actually looking for 7 interns for QD C++ programming. What you said to me is that we don't even require you to be a real programmer, because we can train you to do that. What we want is actually perseverance and discipline for you to learn. The learning is in there. All we have to do is, if you're disciplined enough to do the work. Yeah. So I told the student that if I'm the student, I'll take every single opportunity for me to take that job. Because it's a programming job, and you never know what will lead you to that.
Well, you can never tell. I mean, when I first started in this business, as like a desktop technician, I never figured that I would be hiring desktop technicians and hiring people with way more. I have to hire PhDs sometimes, and that's a daunting task for someone like me who's still in college to sit down and say, "Why don't you tell me, what makes you, what makes you right for this
pay
job?"
Scale of that PhD.
Oh,
I might transfer there.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah, I had to hire someone on a PhD level, and I just ended up sourcing these folks. But that's a completely different arena altogether. I mean, you go from hiring people in the help desk, and then you're going to hiring, someone to run a program, and it's going to require, not only all this. I just get, bowled over looking at, some of their experience. You're talking, especially on military contracts, people with that much education. It's. I started out flying airplanes, and I was in the space program, and I studied being an astronaut, and I decided it wasn't for me. I mean, huge accomplishments. So.
You guys have some more questions for Jerry?
What's your favorite part about your job?
I guess my favorite part of my job is knowing that I can make a difference in somebody's life just by giving them the opportunity to go to work. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in the field, and I spent a lot of time in server rooms, but giving people opportunities and helping them to come on board and to grow, and mentoring them as best I can. I mean, that's huge for me. I think that's more rewarding than just about anything I've ever done. It's just the opportunity to help other people, and it's you build relationships with people. know, I've had people that call me their boss, and it's like, you know, he's my boss, he was okay. And then I have people that, you know, I run into them in grocery stores, and they'll, you know, try to hug the stuffing out of me because, you know, it's all about building relationships, and you're going to find that's going to be when you go out into the world and you go out into a corporate arena. It's all about building relationships, and especially in this area. You know, I've said this to people that I've worked with 100 times. You know, that person that you're working with right now on the next contract, they may be your boss, or you may be their boss. So you treat everybody kind and with a degree of professionalism, because it's going to come back to you eventually, and that could be good and that could be bad. So.
I've seen where the human resources manager was the human resources director's boss. Now, at that time, he wasn't a director. The manager is still a manager, and now that young director is his boss. He used to be his boss.
It's kind of a crude saying, but the old saying is the butt you're kicking right now, you may be kissing, you know, 6 months from now, is so true. And you know, trying to tell folks it's you know, be kind to your coworkers. You know, keep a professional air about you. Do your job. Treat everybody fairly. And you know, like I said, you know, it may be who knows. You know, Dr. Nixon may be in one of my classes one day. You know, talking to my students, and it's
my boss one day.
But I will tell you that the IT field for me has been very rewarding, not just from a manager standpoint, but when I was in the field and when I was in the server room, and it gave me the opportunity to continuously learn, and it just never got boring for me. I was constantly learning. So.
Final word, everyone?
I guess that's it.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to come by and speak with you. I'm sorry I'm not a fantastic public speaker.